Hello everyone! Welcome to Expat Life in Barcelona. I am truly grateful to have you join me on another adventure. I want you to know that your presence means so much to me. 20 years ago, this isn't the life we imagine. But now, it's the life we chose. Let me tell you why. Our lifestyle today wasn't exactly part of the original plan. Back when we first dreamed of living more simply and sustainably, it felt almost impossible. Before moving here, my husband and I lived the classic city life. I spent 35 years in Yokohama, Japan's second largest city, just south of Tokyo. It's a place famous for its bustling port, rich cosmopolitan history, and vibrant modern attractions. Meanwhile, my husband's world was through Dumai, a charming street in the second arrondissement of Paris. Picture elegant Haussmannian buildings from the 17th century, surrounded by cultural landmarks like Place de Victoire and Notre-Dame de Victoire. We were surrounded by culture, history, and convenience, but also by noise, stress, and endless expenses. Two very different cities, two very different rhythms of life, and yet, somehow, both of those experiences led us here to a quieter, more intentional way of living. We came from lively neighborhoods, so we were searching for a serene spot not too far from the city. We love traveling, and being close to hospital was important too. We grew up surrounded by noise, color, and constant motions, streets that never really slept. But somewhere along the way, we realized our hearts were craving something gentler. We wanted a place where mornings felt calm, where the world slowed down just enough for us to breathe. Still, we didn't want to lose the pulse of the city completely. Traveling is a big part of who we are. So staying connected mattered, and being close to good hospitals gave us a sense of safety, a quiet reassurance that we'd been taken care of. It wasn't just about finding a home. It was about finding peace without letting go of the life we love. We grow up in a loud, busy city, but we desired a calmer environment where we could relax. While we wanted peace, we didn't want to lose our connection to city life altogether. Eventually, we searched for a home that offered quiet while still embracing the lifestyle we love. But our story isn't only about leaving the city. It's also about living as expats. Coming from Japan and France, and then choosing Barcelona meant adapting to a new culture, a new language, and a new rhythm of life. We realized that happiness wasn't about square meters or city lights. It was about freedom. Being expats shape our choices. We wanted a place that felt welcoming, yet affordable. Somewhere close enough to the city for travel and healthcare, but far enough to give us peace. Year 2014, we visited countless houses and condos in the area. Most of them were way out of our budgets. Then we stumbled upon this place, the cheapest option we found. It actually took us almost 2 years to discover it. And honestly, it wasn't our first choice. But sometimes life surprises you. It felt like destiny. Like this unfinished little house on the hill was waiting for us to make it a home. This tiny house in the hills became more than just a home. It became our way of belonging in a new country on our own terms. When we first saw this tiny house on the hill, unfinished and surrounded by trees, we didn't see what it was. We saw what it could become. The funny part? The state agents didn't even want to show us this property. At the time, there was no paved road, no city water, no mobile signal, and definitely no internet. But we saw something different. We saw potential. On top of that, the structure wasn't even built as a real house. It needed so much work just to make it livable. The agent wondered who would ever be interested in such a place. But for my husband and me, it was exactly what we were looking for. The perfect space that fit our budget. We know how expensive it is to buy land and build a dream home from scratch. Our dream was different. We wanted something cozy, simple, and sustainable. A home that feels as natural as the birds, the bees, and all the creatures around us. Because as humans, we believe we have the same rights to live freely, simply, and in harmony with nature. It's not perfect. Sometimes it's tough, but every sunrise reminds us why we're here. Truthfully, it wasn't an easy task. When we started looking for contractors, none of them gave us a proper code. They weren't willing to accept our conditions. We wanted to buy the materials ourselves, pay only for labor, and even work alongside them during construction. In the end, no one wanted to build our tiny house. So, we had to take on most of the work ourselves. Plumbing, steel welding for the pillars, sealing the foundation, even reconstructing the terrace walls with thin layers of concrete. As a middle-aged individuals, these tasks were physically demanding. Eventually, we had to pause construction. And then, with the arrival of COVID-19 and rising inflation, our budget disappeared, and our dream seems to come to rest for a moment. But our story didn't end there. Even though the budget was gone and construction had stopped, we refused to give up. We realized that living off-grid isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. So little by little, we started again. We reused materials, learned new skills, and leaned on creativity instead of money. Every challenge became a lesson. Every pause gave us time to rethink. And slowly, this unfinished house began to feel alive. Like it was growing with us. Today, it's still a work in progress. But when we wake up surrounded by trees, hearing birds instead of traffic, we know we made the right choice. Our comeback wasn't about finishing the house. It was about rediscovering why we started. To live simply, sustainably, and free. From Yokohama and Paris to the hills of Barcelona, this journey taught us that simplicity is not compromise, it's a choice. And this tiny house, imperfect as it may be, is our sweet home. Different rooms, different rhythms, different ideas of what enough look like. And slowly, without planning it, we learned something simple. This tiny house, imperfect, weathered, is still learning to hold us, isn't the end of our journey. It's a place where we finally stop reaching outward is not grand, but it's gentle, and it ours forever. And in the world that keeps asking for more, this somehow feels like home. Until then, take care wherever you are. Move gently and wear your smile like a quiet light, just enough to lift the others you meet along the way. See you soon. Bye.